tulip that I carry everywhere, if you can, Feridun John, show it, is in the memory of my mom, and my company, Tulip, is in memory of Lale. But these are the things that we learn and pick up when we grow and listen and are attentive. And I have always found Toronto specifically and Canada being an incredibly welcoming place for immigrants. And I know that that's part of why we're here today as well, and why iBRIDGE Toronto is so vital to the ecosystem of the diaspora community. So it's a great pleasure to transition into our next panel, which is navigating the path of immigrant-friendly destinations for high-tech entrepreneurs. So we'd love to ask Feridun Taslimi, Fred Korangi, Martin Basiri, and Ramin Bagheri to please join the stage for this panel.
Okay, I hope we can keep you awake at this time. With the situation in Iran and a number of entrepreneurs and or entrepreneur-to-be people trying to get something done, it's been incredibly important. Is there a way to help these people? Other entrepreneur-friendly countries that they can go to, and what are some of the places that provide the best facilities? So this session here has kind of two tracks. One, is there something that iBRIDGEs can do? Is there something that we as a small group can help these people? And then where these entrepreneurs can find some kind of a home. When we first started in 2015, entrepreneurship in Iran was in infancy, and from what I understand, Feridun has a little video of one of the first incubators in Iran, the very first one. Can you play that? It's kind of interesting that this is back in our country, and somebody really started this, and things have changed in many ways. Can somebody play that, please?
MAPS is the first private sector incubator and acceleration center for technology companies in Iran. MAPS has been formed in the basement in an old house in Tehran.
So the question is, well, these days, if you have a question, these days, what do? You go to ChatGPT. So the other day I went to ChatGPT, so what are the entrepreneur-friendly places for immigrants? And number one country was United States, and the second one was Singapore. The only problem is, I had to tell ChatGPT, this is not for normal people. This is for immigrants, people coming from Iran. So I asked the question again. And guess which country, can somebody guess which country came up as number one?
Turkey?
That was number two.
UAE?
UAE, exactly. So it's UAE. And kind of sad, again, this is no reflection on UAE, but we all know that the ecosystem in Canada and United States is that no country can match these places. So the question is, I'm putting to you all, think about your experience as far as the places where you found your home. And I know, Martin, you must have incredible experience as far as Canada is concerned and the Canada ecosystem. And Ramin has been running several years.
26 years.
There you are. From one country to another country. And Feridun, whose name is misspelled actually, I think. he has a kind of a different perspective. As you saw, he was on the video, and maybe you want to, can you take a few minutes, talk about the problems Iranians have coming out in Iran and the problems they ran into? Then what I'd like to do is maybe go around and you guys talk about what are the opportunities, what are the ways that these people can overcome. Go ahead, Fredo.
Okay, thank you, Fereydun. The video that you saw was prepared for first iBRIDGE's conference at UC Berkeley, and it was shown at that time. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend at that time. There's 11 years of fantastic experience in Iran and meeting entrepreneurs that have, by all measures, and this is somebody who's been an entrepreneur in US for more than 30 years, by all measures, they work harder, are more diligent, and have a unbelievably higher amount of passion than most entrepreneurs that I had met in US or in Europe prior to going there. The challenge that they face is that the challenge of isolation. So we now know that everybody's connected through internet. We now have email, we have WhatsApp, we have Telegram. It's not the connectivity in a one-dimensional world that they lack. It's a connectivity in a multidimensional world. Today, you've seen Iranian entrepreneurs, Iranian American, Iranian Swedish, Iranian Canadian entrepreneurs who have come out of that flat world. They've come out here and they've presented to you. And you've been able to tell them what to do better, how to do better, and you've been able to give them feedback. And that is something that they don't get in Iran because internet is a flat one-dimensional world. There is no interaction per se, and the interactions are not personal, so they can't look at Kamran Zelahian's eye and see the passion and the compassion that he communicates when he criticizes them or when he says, here, you could have done this better. That isolation, organizations such as iBRIDGE's are the only ones that can create that bridge and allow that isolation to be, I guess, limited in impact and removed. Now, the challenges that they face have to do with not knowing exactly what is going on in the rest of the world. They hear about it. Every Iranian entrepreneur that I know knows about the top 50, if not the top 100 VC firms and accelerators in the West. They all know about Y Combinator. They all dream about pitching to Y Combinator. They all participate in pitches to Y Combinator. But that is, again, that's that one-dimension flat interaction. They lack enough mentors, enough guides, enough coaches who've done this before. The only value that I took to Iran, and it was by default, was that I'd done it before. I'd raised over $100 million, I'd done 8 startups, I'd failed 4 times, succeeded 3 times, and I could share real experiences. When Faraj Alai comes, sits down and tells you his experience here, that's the experience that they need to hear. But they need to hear that in person because whether we like it or not, we are an emotional culture. And our emotions are the guidance of truth, not our logic. So we sense the energy of people and we know that they're telling us the real truth. And we resonate with real truth a lot easier than with logic. So they lack that interaction. They need that coaching. They need that guidance. The rest of it, I think, comes along. Iranians have been very, very enterprising in raising capital outside of Iran. I don't know whether you've heard or not, but Formalu just raised over $2 million outside of Iran. They're an Iranian startup. They went and set up a company in Tallinn and Estonia and raised the money there. There are a lot of other startups who are raising money through security token offerings. So they are very, very entrepreneurial and they do find solutions. But the part that is not available to them is that coaching, is that guidance, is that taking them under the arm and saying, hey, listen, I can help you doing this pitch in 3 minutes. It can't be more than 3 minutes. I can do this in 3 slides, not in 13 slides. I can help you with your first letter that you write. I can help you with the business plan, the financial model, the business model, not from a book perspective. They're well read, but from an actual experience perspective. So I think that's the challenge. The challenge is not finding necessarily friendly places to go to. The challenge is to find people who can help them wherever they go to. And believe me, they go everywhere. There's 6.8 million Iranians outside of Iran. That's a large number being outside, and a majority of them are highly educated, highly motivated people who can create value. And they understand creating value, because in the environment that they're in, if they don't create value, they're immediately dead. The fast die or the fast drop model that we talk about in the US, in Iran, is unbelievably fast. Because there, if you don't create value, everything else is at such a low level. The infrastructure is so poor. The capital markets are so strange that if you don't create real value, you don't have a chance. So they know how to do that. To come outside of Iran and do that, they need mentors, they need guides, they need support from that perspective a lot more than anything else.
So let me ask you, I'm a kid out of school, let's say Sharif University, and I got some ideas. I've done an app and it looks really interesting. What do I do? I mean, you say the place doesn't matter, but what do I do? What's my next step? I go on the internet, try to find a place?
Well, you pick the one that sort of gets picked constantly. Out of 1,200 graduates from Sharif University, 80% get picked up by third year in college by the top universities around the world. So they don't have much of a problem.
Let's say Mashhad University.
But Mashhad University, the first thing they do is they try to reach out to see what they can do to get a visa. So the visa challenge is there, regardless of whether they're
entrepreneurs. But still, you got to pick a country, right?
They do shotgun, broad spectrum. They all love to come to America. They all love to come to Canada. They all want to go to English-speaking countries, Australia. They like to go to, countries where they have the language barrier is not as difficult. But getting in is not as easy as you may think. Even though 140 to 200,000 of them get in every year, it's not as easy as we think.
Okay, let's say I'm looking at Europe. So, Ramin, what do you suggest? Let's say I call you and say, look, I got this idea, I got this app or whatever. I'm from, again, maybe Qazvin University, not Mashhad. What do I do?
Okay, I think a couple of things has changed in the last, I would say, decade, especially when it's come to Europe and specifically, let's say, Germany. And I have been observing for a long time here, okay, they changed the policy. Let's say you can, I'm not talking about the startup idea, but just as a kind of biz developer or software engineer, they are going to change the policy to get there. But I think the problem is, how you can also navigate if you want to just then become kind of entrepreneur. Let's say you are going to work in a company in Europe and then you get well paid, and you have maybe 4 or 5 years visa, and then what's after that? The issue is that multifold. One, I would say, as a kind of hard factors, is even you talk about Estonia, for example, it's not easy to open a business bank account. It's very simple. Why? Not because the government of Germany doesn't allow you. The bank, they don't want to get trouble with the US Treasury Department. It is unfortunately the case. And the other things when it comes to Europe, you mentioned, yes, they prefer our talents come to the UK or to the US, it's because of English. But when you come to Germany, another barrier is German. And especially it's very cultural. Why? Because the Germans like to speak, if they understand English very well, they speak English very well, but they like that the people who come to their country speak their own language, which is German, and it's not an easy language. And that is another barrier. And the other thing is that all about this, I would say, prejudice and the reputation that Iran has outside Iran, right? And when you talk, I mean, I can remember talking to friends who came about around 80s to the US. They changed their first name from Behruz to Bruce, to from Ali to Al. And I asked this question, why? And then the question was because it was that one about the hostage taking in the 80s. Many Iranians, they were really scared. And they changed the name just to don't give this impression I'm coming from Iran. So with that said, this type of challenges is different. It's different. Where do you live? When do you want to go and what you want to achieve is an access to the capital. And another challenge is also networking. I mean, that is very important. I think I really value, I've been since joined iBRIDGE back in 2015, is the access to the, I mean, and some people that confuse this networking with party-wazi, which is not, but the people that think, okay, when I come here and I get the money, it's not the case. But I think if we come, and that was one thing that I really appreciate, all this effort Kamran Elahian and the board that time, they brought the people together in Berlin, and people came from Iran. I think almost many of them, they came from Iran that time, back in 2015. They really gained a lot of knowledge, lot of network, lot of knowledge transfer, which was very important. But altogether, I think it has not been really easy to be Iranian, no matter where. Now we have to find a way how we can also then navigate the path through somewhere that we can also become more successful.
I don't know. So what you're telling me, don't come to Germany then. Don't know we're in Europe, so what do I do?
I mean, no, I mean, it's not, I mean, okay.
This doesn't sound very helpful.
Let's answer your question. I mean, if you don't get visa to Canada or to the US, where do you want to go? Now, Europe now, they try because they have this issue they want, but again, then you have another problem.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call Martin. Martin, hey, look, he tells me don't come to Germany, and I'm looking at Canada. What do I do? Tell me something good. I want to hear something positive.
For sure, definitely, like, come to Canada. We want you here. We have a program called Startup Visa. It's now 3,500 startups. They can have up to like 5 people. And that's how I got my permanent residency, by the way, in Canada. By applying through the program there, if you get funded here or if through Accelerator Center, you can, or different like designated, actually like Mars, like where we are right now, they're one of them. If they give you a letter of support, you can get your work permit and like come here. If your idea is good, I think you can get in. Before I have like 2 fundamental like answer for you, but before we get there, can you look around for 1 second around you? There is one thing very different about any entrepreneurial or any founder or startup event that is like mostly Iranian. And one thing is the diversity of gender. We have a lot of women in this room. And I think that's like, that's remarkable about the Iranian event. So first of all, let me like clap for all of the women in the room. I think this is a very remarkable thing that we have a lot of like women in engineering, and that's what, and you see like constantly, you see a lot of like women that are founders. So I think this is about our culture. I really like about that. So let's get to your answer. There are like fundamental things that an entrepreneur go to solve a problem, and a lot of limitations. Like for example, like if you're Iranian, one of the hardest things that you have is your passport. And I had a lot of hardship with my passport, like first couple of years, to the level that I remember one time I was pitching in the United States, and one VC said, listen, amazing, how do I fund you that I don't even know you can even stay here, or what happened if you go back? I can't even like call your police or something. To my face, they were like talking about it, and I'm pretty sure this was a concern to a lot of other people, and to somehow that makes sense, like what about their concern? But I tell you like from the other side, anytime you face a hardship, that makes you stronger. And I think a lot of this strength makes you like more resilience about the idea. One thing that we Iranian have that almost not other places in the world have, we don't have a plan B. We almost can't say, oh, if it doesn't work, I go back. No, it must work. And I think that's a gift that we have. Because there's no plan B. We can't go back, right? So that makes us more successful. That's one of the reasons that you see a lot of Iranian come out and they're very successful, because they're like, I don't have I can't go back. And I think that's our strength. There right now, after Canada, if today I wanted to come out of Iran, I would go to UAE actually. Fast visa.
So ChatGPT was right, huh?
Yeah, I think this is incredible. And you see in Web3, a lot of people even from Canada, United States, and Europe going to UAE to start very zero tax on the personal side. Right now, all Gulf countries are stepping up for their VCs. Around the Persian Gulf, yes. All of them, they're doing an amazing job in investing in technology. I think the leadership in these countries that make them difference. It's funny because every time it's coming something like UAE or those names comes up, everyone say, oh, it's oil money. No, a lot of countries have oil money. Venezuela and Iran has oil money. These guys are visionaries. And I like that. If I make it today and I can't come to US or Canada, definitely I go to a country like UAE where you can build it good. I hope they can keep their country open and open-minded. We all seen what happened in our previous regime. We're an amazing country because of it wasn't a democracy, what happened to them. That's a big failure point they could have. But I really like what is happening over there. There is one advice I have for any entrepreneur that they come outside and they're normally say, I don't have a network or something. And in fact, actually, I wrote an article about it on Forbes. So I gave a QR code to the media team. If you guys can post it so people can take a look at it. So if you scan that, you go to the article I wrote for Forbes. And it's all about what would you do if you're an immigrant entrepreneur and you are here. I think the first and most important one, you should ask for help.
This is when you come to Canada.
When you come to anywhere that you don't have the network, ask for help. The power of ask is the most important power you have. If you don't mind rejection, it's amazing. Because you can get the network that you don't have. You can get the knowledge that you don't have. You can go around the problems that you don't have. Never shy away from asking. I think in our culture, first kind of like teach us to be shy about asking. That was one thing that I'm glad I didn't pick up that from our culture, and I came here. It served me very well. That's the number one thing I tell everyone. The other one I say to all entrepreneurs: the moment they come here, try to add value before, try right away to give away. You know, I raised in a family that they were telling us, whenever you have a hardship, donate some money. Whenever you need help from the society, help someone. It's it's something like that. Anytime, give money away when you don't have money. So I think one of the best way to create your network, if you start helping other people, your name get out there that you are someone that you are helping.
But you're talking about all these after you become successful. But so now I am the guy with the app, whatever, and then you say startup visa in Canada. I'd like to go to UAE in a minute, find out what's the story there. So what do? I come here, I somehow get some money, I come to Canada, and you tell me there's a startup visa. Where do I go?
Yeah, so you apply while you're in Iran. You then
you apply over there.
Yeah, if you get a letter of support, most likely you get a work permit while waiting. You come here within a year or two, you get permanent residency.
Do I get some money too when I get here?
No, you could pitch to the VCs. There are some VCs that they give you money. If not, you go through one of the incubators.
I see, okay.
You come here, this is what I would do. I go find the cheapest room possible, that I just have a bed. So it forced me to work at my office till literally the last night, so I don't have to go back home. And it forced me to stay in the office, and then morning to night, I just work. And I go to every single event that I know till I found people. And when I was like talking about helping, I think helping people is at any stage. So day one, when I go to something like this, I try to like connect with people and see how can I help them. And then this way, one by one, you can build your network. The best way of building a network is like add some value to someone.
Okay. So you've created this company, Passage, or Passage. How do you say it?
Passage.
Passage, okay. And from what I understand, it's something to do with financing of the education.
Correct.
So if I'm that guy with the app, come down here and say, hey, look, I'm going to go get my master's, and hopefully, meanwhile, I'll figure out how to pitch and all that. Does that help me?
Yes.
Okay, this is great.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Yeah. If you're a good guy, or like,
I gotta be good.
Yeah, if you're good.
How do you know I'm good? I don't know.
No, I mean, like, if you have, it's based on the merit.
Are you afraid of it?
I mean, like, good guy or woman, doesn't matter. Like,
Okay.
if you're good, yeah, we would love it. It's our honor to fund your life.
Okay, so I have to apply to a university first, get accepted, then I come to you.
I can answer you better on January 1st because it's a magical thing. I don't want to like give it away right now.
Okay.
So from January 1st, you can see it. No, you apply on the app. It's all integrated like journey.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay. So this is good. So at least we got one solution here. Go to this app in Iran and apply that after January. So I got to wait till January.
Yeah.
Okay.
I say one more thing. If you're young and you're in Iran,
Oh, that's
I
on me
actually
then.
recommend.
I
Yeah, I
need to
actually
do it.
recommend coming to university here because the data shows universities and colleges are the best way of integrating immigrants currently. And if you look at the income of immigrants after they come in 5 years out, you see like international students by a huge difference. They're better than the other people. So a 1-year program or a 2-year program, if you can come here, you learn the culture, it's a good time for you to absorb the culture, to like find friends, to find a network, and then you start your company.
Okay, that sounds good. So I've called you, and then you said, Freydun, you're bad. Go to UAE. So, Freydun, you're the UAE guy. What's the story with UAE? How do I get in there?
Well, actually, Jack Ruppers and I started the first incubator in Abu Dhabi back in 2006, 2007.
That was a long time ago.
And back then, nobody knew what an accelerator or what an incubator was. 10 years later, they have probably, I believe, about 12 accelerators in Abu Dhabi and in Dubai. At Dubai Financial Center, the IFC, they have 2. And at other free zones, they have set up technology accelerators. And UAE has been smart enough to know that Iran is a talent pool that produces over 15,000 software engineers with a bachelor's degree every year, about half of that with a master's degree, produces 1,400 master's level AI specialists every year coming out of its universities.
This is in Iran?
In Iran. So they give a golden visa if you qualify, especially if you're in the
This
field
is
of
UAE.
AI. You are UAE. Without an investment, they will provide a visa for experts, for domain experts. So it's become very, very supportive. You can get a travel visa. You can get a visa by buying a ticket within a week. A travel agency can get a UAE visa. You can go there for 2 weeks and do all your searches and find out who's where, what. The only drawback is it is expensive.
So there's no financial help as such?
The VCs may step in. They may step in with ideas, although there's been a lot of hesitation on part of Abu Dhabi with Iranian entrepreneurs. Dubai is more open to Iranian entrepreneurs, so they will consider seed stage and maybe even up to Series A investment in startups in UAE.
I see. So Ramin, on this golden visa, What about, let's forget Germany for a minute.
I can talk a little about Germany too.
Oh,
because they changed
okay.
something.
But you rejected me. You said don't come
No,
to
no,
Germany.
no, I don't reject you. I said, okay.
Okay. Well, no, that was Canada.
No, I mean, as I said, they changed the policy. They keep changing the policy. Now, the newest policy I heard that is going to get affected by end of this year for Germany, because before that, if you want to go and let's say work in Germany, you needed a contract. You go to the embassy and you get, and then nowadays they don't ask you to speak German. Now, what has changed, I read, that was that you show that, for example, you are graduated from any university in Iran, and if that type of, let's say, subject or major is something that Germany or German companies are looking for, they give you 1-year visa without any contract. Then you have enough 1 year in Germany, go and then apply for different job and different company, and then you will see if you get the job, then you can stay. If you cannot find anything within 1 year, and of course, I mean, they don't give you any financial help, but many things in Germany is much, much cheaper than in Canada or in the US. That is something that is not for the startups, but it's for those who want to first start to work in a company, international company in Germany.
I'm not sure you guys know about Lisbon or Portugal. I usually go to Web Summit conference there, and I find Portugal incredibly immigrant-friendly. And every once in a while, I get a letter saying that if you come down here, we give you 250,000 euro. And at least that's been my experience. I know, Kamran, once you were at Web Summit once, and I don't know whether your experience been the same or not as far as Portugal is concerned.
Portugal and also Chile are both providing investments to qualified startups.
Okay, that sounds good. So we got here some choices. We got a great choice in Canada, maybe a 1-year visa in Germany, and UAE expensive. That's the way it is. Okay, we're almost towards the end. Does anybody have any questions? We only got a couple of minutes. Anybody is looking for golden visa, non-visa, anything else? Any good guys? Martin, do you have any suggestions? Any other suggestions you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think if you can't get your visa, don't stop trying. I would start building my company while there with thinking that one day I can do it, because if you can build something good enough, this is what I learned after helping 700,000 people with university's application to go study abroad. Politics and borders are not strong enough to stop talent. So if you're talented, build it, it will be fixed. When you build something good, every single door gonna be open to you. Even today, if you build something very, very, very good, even US that is like currently like maybe one of the worst countries for immigration, there are ways that you can get in, like NIW. You get a couple of good VCs to write you a letter of recommendation. In 4 months, you have your green card. So my only advice to those that they're not there yet is like, don't give up. Just continue doing it, and you will win.
I think that's a good advice to end with. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.